Connecting to audio. There we go.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tara Palacios, and I am the director of the BizLaunch program here in Arlington County. And we welcome you to today's program on market research using free resources to access business intelligence, a subject that's near and dear to my heart. My partner in crime, Alexandra Fox, is here with me today, and we're really, the subject is near and dear because it really can help your business define where it goes in the future, who your target market is, and really be able to give you some pretty good specifics. So we're really going to get into the nuts and bolts today. I would like to say that this is a full webinar series that's been sponsored by Capital One Bank and in partnership with our friends not only from the libraries, but the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and from BizLaunch itself. Now the shameless ads are over and we are about to begin. Really, the logistics or the housekeeping for today's webinar, we're going to have everybody in listen-only mode until we get to the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So if you have specific questions that you would like to ask us, you can do so now, but you may also want to be able to chat with us as well on Twitter. I'll be giving you our Twitter handle. So make sure that we have that, we don't miss out on anything, because we want to make sure that you leave out with some really good value. We're going to be recording today's session. We're very excited about that. And we'll have it available on our BizLaunch website. We'll be by the end of this week, if not earlier. And so we'll be sure to send out to all the participants the link so you can access it again. And if you have any other questions regarding the market research webinar, that is a typo there, feel free to either give me a call or contact me by email, and I can help provide you with either additional resources or one-on-one meetings that we can follow up after today's webinar. And today's presenters, you see a photo of myself, Tara Palacios, the Director for Arlington County Small Business Program, and my comrade in arms, Alexandra Fox, who is our business, quote-unquote, guru librarian. Welcome, Alexandra. We're glad to be here. We're going to have a wealth of information for you, and Alexandra comes from both the private and the public sector. She really understands business and the type of information that entrepreneurs need in order to be successful. So I'm really happy to have you here with me here today. Glad to be here, Tara. So don't forget, please follow us on Twitter. We're going to be using the hashtag that we always use, which is BizLaunchChat. So you can get the most out of today's program. I will be shamelessly following in case anybody has any questions, and we'll be retweeting things that really resonate. Just let us know, or if you have additional questions. Not only can you raise your hand in part of the webinar, but you can also follow us online on Twitter. So without further ado, let's jump into market research. And the biggest question for a lot of folks is, what is market research? What is it? Do I need to do it? Can I just, throw the spaghetti noodles at the wall and see what sticks, But really, what market research will do for you as an entrepreneur, it'll take the assumptions that you have about the market, and it really vets it. It fine-tunes it. It makes what your guesses are. It takes the guesswork out of what you do, no matter what industry sector that you're in. And according to the American Marketing Association, it really is the systematic gathering, recording, and analyzing of data with respect to a particular market, where market refers to a specific customer group in a specific geographic area. And this is really important because I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs that everyone is my target market. And for me, that's a red flag. It can't be everybody. If it's everybody, you better have, like, huge Microsoft pockets, because you really have to throw a lot of money to be able to appeal to a mass audience. What you really want to do is fine-tune an audience to their age demographic, how they get information, how they access information. You want to be as specific as possible, because then that way you're actually saving your marketing dollars and being very specific with whatever outreach it is that you're trying to do, whether it's business to business, business to government, business to consumer. It's really taking that information and getting rid of the assumptions that you have about a particular market. Okay. So why do we use market research in business? You use it because it really can help you to identify the trends, demographics, economic shifts, your customers' buying habits, and important information on the competition. Here's the thing. I always say things change. And you have to, as a business, as an entrepreneur, you have to change with the times. I relate it almost to hairstyles. You know what Jerry curls were to the 70s and 80s, that's not the same in the 2000s. You've got to get with the times. You have to understand what the current trends are. You've got to get rid of that outdated hairstyle and really understand where your market is. And you need to be using it, and you have to be fresh. You have to be using this every day. And it helps your business because it really helps you to be able to communicate effectively, identify and understand opportunities, pinpoint whatever kind of obstacles or problems you may have, and really benchmark and evaluate your success. So the question doesn't become, do I do a direct mail campaign, and do I spend thousands of dollars on this direct mail campaign, if in all actuality my customers are on social media, which is free but takes time. If all my customers are using social media platforms, why am I using kind of an outmoded means of outreaching to them? And being able to, if I place an ad in a newspaper or online, what is my return on investment? How do I benchmark over time that this is effective? Information and communication changes constantly, and as an entrepreneur or business owner, you need to change with those times and make sure that however way your businesses or customers are accessing information, you're forefront. You're using search engine optimization. People can find you. If your company is on Yelp, you're on Yelp responding to your clients, not letting that information kind of sit there dormant. And this is all part of your marketing plan. Now, with market research, there are two different distinct types of research, and we're going to be talking about both today. One is secondary research, and the other is primary research. Your secondary research really is all of the things that are out there that are available to you, meaning it's information that's provided by a secondary source, but they've already kind of done this research. And we're going to be getting into a lot of that type of information and finding out specifics about your industry sector. It's a way that you can benchmark other industry sectors and other businesses and really fine-tune and kind of, it's taking that information that you have about the market and it's flushing it through. Now, your primary research, this is the information that you use that's fresh information, whether it's doing surveys, having focus groups, being able to visit your competition and see what their prices are, see how people buy goods and services, and be able to access this kind of fresh data that is very specific to your business and your location, and to find what those best practices are. So your secondary research really is what's happening across the market, usually on a national basis. You're seeing trends, you're seeing things. And then as you get some of that kind of secondary research going on, then you delve even deeper into your primary research, which tells you what your customers want, what your customers need. And so some different types of secondary research, and we'll be getting into some of this: company and industry, competition, demographic, and consumer information. Now, one thing I should note, and I always say this whenever we do any kind of training, is that you need competition. You need people out there that are healthy and doing well, because what you want to do is you want to get a percentage of that market. If there is no competition as you're doing your research and you're not finding anybody that's doing quite what you're doing, that could be a red flag, because it could say, well, it's either very costly, it's already an it's not even a saturated market, so there's not even a market niche, but you're going to have to do that much more work to be able to get customers. And we'll delve into all of this, because now I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Alexandra Fox, our business librarian guru, who's going to jump into all of the nuts and bolts of the market research that we in Arlington County have to offer, which I could say is free.
It's all free.
And it's a good four-letter word.
It's a very good four-letter word.
All right, Alexandra.
Well, thank you, Tara. So as Tara has mentioned, there's different types of secondary research. And in my role as the business librarian at Arlington Public Library, I work with people one-on-one, and also I take questions that people have how to actually find a certain type of information or data. And I just wanted to first start out with that people, okay, the first slide is basically business research get started, and I've been doing this for a couple years now in the public sector, but I wanted to give you just a couple tips just to get started, because we all use Google a lot. And
I use it every day.
Use it every day? And I think the first thing you want to ask yourself, what information do I need and why? I don't know if you're working on a business plan or a marketing plan, or you're exploring perhaps an industry to consider, but it's really important because you really want to work smart. Time has value, and so does your time looking for information. I think this is very important to think about. When I was in private industry, working in management consulting firms, we did have corporate librarians, and we used to say to the consultants, if you spend more than 15 minutes of your time looking for information, you need to go and ask an expert or go to a different source.
Oh, wow.
Because time does have money.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Oh, I need to take that myself and use it.
But the next point is really important as well, is whether you're looking at a public or private company, because as we know, public companies have to report their earnings, their revenue, and so on. Private companies do not. And private company information is difficult to find, but there are ways to get at it. The third point I think is very important, and especially for business research, it is important that you know what industry are you in and how is it coded. Now, the industry code, just some background. Every business, whether you're an accountant, attorney, you own a pizzeria, your business will have a classification code. This is what the federal government uses to code each business. Now, the first code is called the Standard Industry Classification. It's an older classification code, and you can still use it. The other code is called the NAICS code, the North American Industry Classification System. The NAICS is, think of N for newer. Now, you should find out what the codes are, because part of business research is using these codes. Many of the products that we're going to show today are actually organized by these codes. You don't have to know them, of course, but it's probably good for you to have the two codes that fit your primary line of business. The fourth point is consider your search terms. And I'll tell you a story from a couple years ago. There was this interest in food trucks.
Yes.
And we had a lot of people who were working on their business plans for food trucks. And interestingly enough, at this point, I think there was one new association that was for food truck vendors. But interestingly, food trucks is just one way to call food trucks, right? There's also mobile kitchens and mobile food units. And they were really called different things, and you'd see press releases with different ways it was called. So it's really important, and I'm sure you know as you're searching on the web, what search term you use may not be the term that's being used in the press release or the article that you want. Okay? Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So consider your search terms. I tell people to compile just a few synonyms, because sometimes that term is being used. Okay? Now, the other point was consider your business resources. Now, the next slide is actually going to give you, now this is a listing of the business resources that have been around for many, many, many years, way before Google. And the library, as I'm going to show you in a minute, does have these resources available to you in different formats. So business and financial news, government information and data, we know sometimes that information is hard to find, but we actually have it in some products that you can easily use to get at it. Market research reports. We do have industry sector overviews that you can access. And if you want, you can search actually a directory of professional and trade organizations, very simply from your office or from your home. There also have been specialized encyclopedias on emerging industries and such that have been around for about 30 to 40 years. So these resources are being published. They're quality resources.
And people are still using them.
Oh, people are still using them. They are actually also, many of them are digitized and are put in many of these products that I'm going to show you.
So they're not maybe the paper form that we're used to back in the days when we went to university and we'd get these big publications.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, now they are all online.
Oh, cool.
I shouldn't say all. Many of them are online.
Okay.
Many of these content types you can find in our, what we call our premium databases. Tara alluded to databases, but we actually call them premium sites because they're premium sites.
I need to be PC, premium
sites, yeah.
Okay.
These are our subscription products.
Okay.
So let's actually just first get you familiar. So the Arlington Public Library has a website. You can search for us on the web. Be sure to search for Arlington, Virginia, because there's Arlington, Massachusetts, and Texas, and sometimes we do get calls from those places, and they're actually looking at the wrong site. But that's our webpage. And here the next slide is just a handful of the premium sites that we subscribe to. I think in total, Tara, we subscribe to 98 premium sites.
Wow,
98. And for example, in upper right-hand corner, we subscribe to Consumer Reports, and you can access the majority of our premium sites remotely from home with an Arlington Public Library card.
So let me get this. If you were interested in competition and looking at how, like if you're in a service-oriented type business, you could use Consumer Reports to see how your competition is doing or stacking up.
That's possible, yes. I just actually put them up there. These are just a sample. These are just some of the products that we have. We have lynda.com. I don't know if many of you know. It's a fabulous tutorial product. But we have plenty of business and investment premium sites that you can access from home. So I wanted to give you sort of some background in that. Okay, moving forward. So Tara sort of mentioned the company and industry research, and this is really important as if you're exploring a new industry or you're working on your business plan and trying to actually get a sense of where your industry is, who are the major players. Here are just 3 that I'm noting, and I just want to let everyone know in the bottom right-hand corner there's actually a breadcrumb trail. It's going to be on each of the slides that I talk about. That actually, if you follow that, you'll be able to access these sites. Okay, there's just a way on our homepage that you have to get to. So the first one is Encyclopedia of Associations Online. You wouldn't believe how many times people come and said, like, I'm looking for information and I only found one association for this area. And oftentimes we're able to find many more because of this product.
Okay.
And just so people know, associations and trade associations are in business to help their members be successful. They
want you to find them.
They want you to find them, but they're producing annual reports on the state of the industry, the trends in the industry. They're often what we call primary sources, essentially, for keeping track of what's happening in that space.
Because they're doing the focus groups. They're doing a lot of the research, so you can access that.
You can access, you can access an association that represents your industry, but also find out more what they publish, what press releases that they publish, what's happening. Oftentimes you just need a few data points or information points to help quantify or help explain where your industry is at.
Now for these, do you need to, if you have the library card, you can access a lot of the data?
Okay. Yes, and we're going to show you how to do that, actually.
Okay.
All of our, I would say majority, about 94 of our premium sites you can access 24/7.
Oh, very nice.
With an Arlington Public Library card, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. The second one is Standard & Poor's. We're very pleased to continue to offer Standard & Poor's remotely, and this is also a very good source, especially for public company information. You're going to get investment news and analysis. But again, if you want to get up to speed quickly on a business, you can actually search Standard & Poor's.
Very nice.
The last one, Business Insights Essentials. This is a product, which I'll take you to in a moment. It has been around for a very long time. It's published by a leading publisher, and you will find this product, Tara, in a majority of the business school libraries.
Oh,
George
and
Mason,
we have it.
And we have it.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, and you also find this in many public libraries as well.
Oh, cool.
But it is it's a very good product for what it offers us, and let's just take you there. So on our website, for those of you who may be following, if you actually browse, you mouse over the word research, you're going to actually be given a couple options, and you want to click on Research Portal. Now, we designed this Research Portal a couple of years ago as sort of your place to go to access our premium content and also our guides. We have something in the center of the page. We have topic guides. And these were created specifically for those people who do not want to come into the library. And this is all our premium content, our recommended quality vetted websites that we as librarians, that's what part of what we do. On the left side, we actually have Take Me Quickly To. There's a drop-down arrow there, and that actually lists all our premium sites. So here's the alphabetical listing, and let's suppose you're at home, and you go here and you click on it. It's going to immediately ask you for your library card number and your 4-digit PIN. Okay, the 4-digit PIN is like a privacy PIN, like similar to an ATM PIN. With this information, we authenticate you, and then we take you to the starting page of this product, Business Insights Essentials. Okay. So, and now there's a lot of data and information in all the products that I'm going to share with you today. So, and I can't, there's not enough time. You're welcome to come and meet me in the library if you'd like. We can go through everything, but I'm going to just show you how to quickly search for a company. So here's the search box, and you can search by company name or ticker, or industry or topic. Now I'm going to put in SAIC.
They're here in Arlington.
They're here in Arlington, and that actually is their ticker symbol. And let's do a quick search on them. So right away, we're presented with a couple different information sort of zones, I like to call it. First and foremost, in the middle, you'll see company profiles. And right there is Science Applications International Corporation with their ticker. Okay, it's coming from a 2014 product. And look at this. You actually have hyperlinks to financials, news, ratings,
market share reports.
Now, this is really one-stop shopping. Okay, and they're pulling it from vetted, quality, published sources. Look on the side there. We have company chronologies. So there's 2 hits for SAIC under company chronologies. We actually have a market research report. We have actually rankings, and we also have news.
Very nice.
This is one of the products that we do recommend our job seekers who come into the library for job information to use, because they can get up-to-date news information on a particular company.
How often does this information change?
This
year?
The news updates daily.
Okay.
The news.
Oh, very nice.
And this information does update, I would say, every 6 months to a year, depending on when they get. There's a lot of content in here.
Okay.
But just so you see, below we actually have a brand. It also lists the brand, and then there's also below that some more results. It's coming from Market Share Reporter. Look at that, 2015.
Wow.
And they're listed under top defense contractors worldwide. So there's a lot of content. This is all free content. This is all full text content.
Wow, limit by full text only. Very nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So now let's click in. Let's click in further. Let's make sure Okay. So now, so this is when I click on Science Applications International Corporation. It's going to bring up a snapshot. Okay. On the left, you'll see the URL. You'll see the ticker symbol. Now, the key information under your founded. We know SAIC has been around a lot longer, but they actually went through a name change last year.
Oh.
That's why it's there. I did check it beforehand.
So that's why it says year founded 2013.
Yeah. But under the company chronologies, you actually see some of the variances and the name changes over the years. They've been around a lot longer.
So you can't exactly use this as, you know, exact information, because you need to kind of look historically for year founded, especially if there's a name change.
Yes, actually, if we were to scroll down under officers, they actually have some information on name change. But Science Applications International Corporation is indeed, the name was changed in 2013 to that. Okay. Now, would like to show you sort of on the right side under related content and related articles by subject. Right here, you can click through and you can get specialized content for this company. Okay. You would probably spend a lot of time on the web searching this, and you wouldn't be able to get the targeted information you need.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, there's a red arrow that's pointing to industries, and this is the primary industry, and this is the NAICS code, and it's called Computer Systems Design Services. On the far right, you see that code. That's where the NAICS code is. This product is organized. Their industry sectors are organized by the NAICS code. Okay. So for every business, they will have an industry sector assignment, and then from there, we can actually, let's suppose I'm going to click on that hyperlink, and I'm going to actually get a listing of industry sector overviews from reliable sources.
Wow.
So for this NAICS code, there are multiple industry essays. Okay. Oftentimes, people come in and say, okay, I'm working on this category in my business plan, or I need to find out what's happening in the space. We'll say, go here, and you actually have, there's multiple pages. Essentially, it's like an essay of each category. Now,
very nice.
The larger category is computer design, but there are different sort of niches. So we have computer security. That's from Encyclopedia of Emerging Industries, and these are multiple pages. They're going to provide an
artificial
overview.
intelligence.
Look at that.
All
Yeah.
the hot.
Encyclopedia of Global Industry 2014.
Very
This is
nice.
current content.
Okay.
And they really provide an overview of the industry and the organization and the structure.
Oh, I like this. I might have to use this right now.
You can. Major players, and you know what the current industry conditions. Is it contract? I mean, is it growing, or is it or is it?
So if I click on that, the hyperlink there, I can get the detailed information of, say, a niche market.
Yes, these are
Okay.
niche markets within that.
This is all information that I could use in my business planning.
This is what, yes, you can use. There's plenty of data in there that's actually being sourced from reliable sources. Actually, the other day I was looking at one, and they were pulling from a leading trade organization, another market research company. They were basically citing quality current resources to provide you with this overview. And this is an easy way to understand where an industry is heading.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go further. Now, let's suppose we don't know we don't have a company, but we want to look up a type of industry. So we can go back to the main page and we can click on that industry category. Okay, think of it as a vertical. And it'll take me to this page, and I know that there are over 1,000 industry profiles.
Wow.
And I could search by NAICS code if I have it. But let's suppose, and we get a lot of people who are looking to start their own consulting firms. Let's put in the word consulting and see what we get. Okay. So we know that there are 9 industry overviews that match the word consulting. So look at this. We have other management consulting services. We have marketing consulting services. So again, we can get up to speed quickly and learn.
Very nice. And that was just a couple clicks.
Exactly.
And we've got this information. Yeah. Well, that's priceless. I really like that.
So general, so I would say Business Insights Essentials is one of the sources that you can go to.
Okay.
Now let's go to premium sites for researching competitors, because this can get really exciting.
Okay.
We have, now I'm sure all of you are used to searching the web and maybe hitting the paywall, that limit on the Washington Post if you don't have any.
Ooh,
you can't
paywall.
You can't
New
go
York
further.
Times.
Exactly. And we have products that update nightly. We have a newspaper product called ProQuest, and it has over 1,300 newspapers, with the major newspapers, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and you can get full text.
Very nice.
And you can search it. We also have another product called General One File, which I really like.
What is that? I'm not familiar with that one.
This is actually full text magazine and trade press.
Very
articles.
nice.
You'll find PR, you'll find news releases, but you also find articles from really niche publications. So publications that, like the National Restaurant Association.
You can get that from here.
You can get a lot of really
niche
material. So it's always good. And what I think also people need to know that these products provide a wealth of functionality. You can not only search by keywords, which isn't always the best way of searching. You can search by name of the company. You can search by type of business, for example. So we could search by SAIC. We can search for consultants. We can search by subjects. So there's different ways that you can actually search to narrow your search and get more targeted results.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Now the last one, I'm not sure if you've heard about this one, but this one is probably our most frequently used product.
I use it.
Okay.
I use RefUSA.
Now Reference USA, for those of you who've never heard of it, it is it's a product that's been around a very long time. And what makes it valuable is that the business information in Reference USA has been vetted. It has been checked. And they are actually building profiles on businesses. This is a great source for private company research. And it is updated monthly. Now, let's suppose we were going to go back to the research portal and then use the drop-down and click on Reference USA. We're already authenticated in, so we have this page. Now, Reference USA offers multiple modules. So we have U.S. businesses, and we see there's 24 million businesses in this module. We have U.S. consumers and lifestyles. We have new movers and homeowners. There's a lot of information that's here. Let's click on U.S. businesses. So now the interface is fairly basic, but we do have an area called Quick Search.
I know that company.
And Willow is a restaurant in Arlington, and I thought, let's just give this a shot and see what's there. So I'm searching, and this is a national. You can search nationally. This is not limited to Virginia or the metro area. So did a quick search. Right away we have
there they are.
Executive name. We have the contact information. Let's click through. So on this page you'll see there's a green V. That means it's been verified. That means that this business has been called in the last year. and they verified some basic information. Now, we have their contact information, we also have their website, and we also below, getting back to the industry codes that I mentioned earlier, there they're coming in again. Here we have the SIC code, the primary categorization, as well as the NAICS code.
I like
so you'll
that.
see this. So if you're not actually sure about your business, your code, you could also use Reference USA, and if you know names of a competitor, you can see how they've been classified. But there's one thing I need to also say. Now, for any product, any database, any premium site, there is no way anything can be 100% accurate at any given moment.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, there may be some differences. For the most part, the classification that's being done on the back end by Reference USA is on point. But for some of those newer companies or newer information, they may not be perfect. But that's also why you want to keep track on perhaps how your competitors are being categorized in this product. It'll help you figure out how to search smarter. Okay.
Gotcha.
So let's scroll down again. Okay, which is really nice. There's a business profile for Willow, and this is most likely pulled from their website and or from other news sources. We actually have the management directory, which is very useful as well. You can find out that Tracy O'Grady is the owner. She's female.
So in this way, you can target the executives, like if you want to do B2B.
Correct.
And you want to know who it is, and the name could be Terry Jones, and you know that it's a female.
Exactly, and I'll show that to you in a little bit.
Okay.
There's so many ways you can use Reference USA.
Wow.
So we also have there's an executive. They also show Western Europe here.
What does that mean?
That's actually, that field was exposed because the federal government uses Reference USA, and they wanted that field exposed to identify female business owners. That was how the field had to be exposed.
Gotcha.
So, but the federal government uses Reference USA data, just to let you know.
Very interesting.
Okay. Now, I should have mentioned earlier, and I apologize, but Reference USA data fuels the top 5 search engines, as well as the majority of the car GPS systems. Okay. So data. So in this case, so Google is using Reference USA data, as well as Reference USA is using Google Maps.
Okay.
Which is really useful. So
Very nice.
So if you're not sure where a business is, you can go to Reference USA and look at the map as well if you're reviewing them. So now this is where it gets really very interesting. So Reference USA is not only vets businesses every year, but they're building a profile on them. Now, when they call them to verify, they do ask some questions, and over the years they build on the information that they gleaned. So from the upper left-hand corner, you'll see location employees. It says 60. That number is probably quite accurate because I can tell based on the fact that this business has been in Reference USA for 9 years. Okay, so for 9 years, Reference USA has been keeping track of Willow. Now, their credit rating score is A, which is the highest. We have some information on their square footage.
It looks like they got in touch with them last month.
Look at that.
May 2014.
May 2014.
That's pretty cool.
Now, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a location sales volume. Now, as we probably know, when they call to verify some basic information, they're not going to share their location sales volume. Okay, that's competitive intelligence for information. But Reference USA does do some data modeling. And they're looking at the type of business, the location of the business in an urban area, how many employees they have, and also how many years this business has been in this database.
So they're using a matrix to kind of figure out.
They are.
Okay.
And the matrix is actually being drawn from the Risk Management Association. There's some variables that they use to come up with that figure.
Interesting.
Okay. Now again, this is sales. This is not revenue. But it's important to note. So let's scroll down even further. So getting back to this data modeling that's being done, they're also using those variables to come up with approximate numbers of how much this business is possibly spending. So for example, payroll and benefits. So between $1 million and $2.5 million, that's how much this business is possibly spending in this category.
What I like about this is as people are developing their business plans or it takes away that curtain because a lot of times you're trying to guess like expenditures, and if you can get enough competitors, then that's very, very helpful.
And this is very helpful.
I really like this.
And again, this is an approximate. Okay, this is an approximate. But I will say that I've had plenty. I do work with score counselors as well, in addition to Tara and her colleagues. And these numbers have made it through plenty of business plans.
That's right.
Okay. So then below we also have nearby businesses, and this is actually mapped by the zip code and the type of business. So we have an idea of what other businesses are located around this business.
And you could see if there's clustering, I guess,
Exactly.
of lifetime, or if there's a competitor, or if they're similar,
Correct.
or if you're bringing somebody in and what hotels or restaurants are nearby.
Exactly.
Right?
Very good idea. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'll show you also how you can even take this data even further. So we went through the quick search. The other option is the custom search. Now I'll tell people right away, getting back to the point of think about what information you need and why. Because there's so many permutations here, so many filters, that oftentimes we can get lost as far as what we're searching. So we want verified businesses, phone verified and quality checked. On the left side, you'll see all these filters like executive name, business type, geography. Let's go further down. You can also narrow it down by number of employees, sales volume, public or private company is very useful. We do get people coming in and saying, I want to target my product and service to small businesses in Arlington County. This is actually a feature that we use to identify those businesses.
That's very nice. And the home base.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, getting back to maybe for sales lead generation, let's suppose that I have a product that I want to sell to dental practices in Arlington. Okay. I could even, perhaps I could even say I'm a dentist. I'm looking to open up shop in Arlington. I want to see who my competitors are or see how many dental practices there are. So I'm going to select under the business type keyword. It says SIC or NAICS. Now again, you don't have to know the code. You can put in the word dentist. It's going to actually do a crosswalk against the database. And there we have the SIC code for dentist. So I'm going to select that. Under geography, I also see an option for county. And we don't unfortunately see it on the screen because I couldn't fit it in, but we're going to select Arlington County. Now just mind you, under geography, you can get down to street address. You can get down to a neighborhood. You can get down to a zip code. Okay. So I'm going to run the search. So my search is I'm looking for businesses. So I'm looking for businesses that have the primary classification of dentists assigned to it in Arlington County. Now the next page is going to show me there are 187 businesses, line items I should say.
I recognize one of those dentists.
So now there may be, now you can see that there are some duplicates because they're actually identifying each dentist in each practice.
Ah, I see.
But still, this is giving you an idea.
Okay.
Okay, now, so there are 187. Now, let's suppose we have a new feature reference USA put out called MEP. I'm going to click on it. Now, the feature that I used was I wanted to see use the heat map for location. It says generate heat map for location. So I wanted to get a sense of where are these dental practices in Arlington. And I can see on the far right that the red indicates a higher density. And we can see that the Ballston and Clarendon corridor is where a majority of the dental practices are located.
Wow.
But there are some other ones as well. And you can drill down further, but just as an example, I wanted to show you how this works.
Oh, that's so cool.
Now you could also generate a heat map for sales volume or for number of employees as well. Okay?
That's way cool.
Now, let's go back to the main page. Now, let's suppose getting back to the charts. So I can use a chart feature, and I can see that the top 7 zip codes, there are 62 dental practices in 22203.
Wow.
So if I'm looking to perhaps open up a dental practice, I may not want to.
No, that's like a business practice that's very, very transparent right here.
Exactly.
This is a neat. When did they do this?
This was a little while ago.
Okay.
There's a lot more under the hood here.
Wow, I haven't been under the hood for a while. This is cool.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Now let's go back to the main page again. Now this is one of the features that we love about Reference USA is that all these records can be downloaded. So remember if I mentioned I want to sell my product to the dental practices.
That's right.
I can select, using the checkbox on the left of the company name, I can select all these businesses and I can download them to Excel.
Super cool.
And this is for free.
And then I can decide what information is relevant and take out some of the,
Actually, the option that you have when you click download, you're actually given multiple options as far as what fields you want to download.
Will populate.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm just showing this just to show that you can download every field.
Oh, cool.
Some people just download just the basic contact information and the name of the owner.
Okay.
And you can use it as a free mailing list. Now, also, Reference USA does sell email lists.
Oh, they do.
They do.
So you can get that for purchase.
You can get that for purchase, and I've had plenty of business owners who have contacted me to get
that's
the email
really
list
good.
as well.
And because they're updating fairly frequently, and if you get a verified list,
Correct.
you know that that information is
Correct.
pretty well vetted.
Yes.
Good
And
to
then
know.
I think in the last year or so, I had actually an Arlington business that was doing fairly well with their direct market, their mailing, targeted mailing. And once he found out about this product, he actually, because it's free, he actually had an intern do some of the downloads for him.
Very nice.
And he was able to save some money.
Very nice.
Okay.
It's all about saving money. Yeah.
Okay, now the next slide is for, now Tara mentioned about your target audience.
Yeah.
Your target market, either it's your business to consumer or business to business. Now I'm listing Reference USA, and there's different modules. So we went through the U.S. Businesses module. There's also new businesses, which is actually very useful too. We have many new businesses that could come up if you're looking to start a business. You may want to look in the new businesses module to see who has started their business in the last 6 months or the last year.
That's right.
Okay. Now there's also a module, there's 2 modules for consumer information, and I'm not showing them here today, but there is some consumer lifestyle data that you're able to get for individuals. That's business to consumer. Now the last product in here is called Business Decision. I think Sarah, remember we got this a few years ago.
Yeah, I was very excited
and
on
we
that.
were very excited. And I will say Business Decision, when people come to me and say, I would like to talk about business, I say, well, Business Decision. They're like, yeah. This is a fabulous product. It is put together using a variety of government data, third-party market research data, and what's really great about this is that it's also, there's a GIS component to it, so you're seeing a visual representation of the data. Now we're talking demographic data. There's also some consumer profiling that's being done. Let me take you through it and show you. Okay, so we went to the research portal again. We went to use drop down. We put that information in. Now the vendor requires people to, either use our Express login on the left or actually create an account. I tell everyone, create your own account so you have sort of that privacy in the database. Not that we're looking to see what you're doing, but just have your own space in there. So if you run reports, you can go back to it. So now, Business Decision, the purpose of it is to identify a geographic area. Okay, so for example, I may be an interior decorator. I'm looking to identify the areas in Arlington County that maybe I can target my business. Okay. Now, I want to learn more about Arlington County. So the first thing I want to do, first of all, is just name your project. I'm going to call it Arlington County. But you can define your area by either a county, a zip code, a census tract. We can also look at an address to see perhaps we can look at the address of an area. Now this product is national. It's not limited, obviously, so you can look at any area in the country as well.
Super cool.
So what I'm doing under preset area, I'm selecting the preset area, and I'm just putting in Arlington County. It's going to actually do a query against the database. It's going to show me Arlington County, Virginia, or Darlington County, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
So I click on Arlington County, Virginia, and then what happens on the far right is that it's going to bring up an actual designation of Arlington County. There's a visual representation. So we define your geographic area as Arlington County. Now this is the best part. We have approximately 45 different customized reports that you can generate.
This is what I'm talking about with the primary market or the secondary. It's very specific.
This is very specific. So there are different categories. So these are reports that you can run for your geographic area. Again, you can do a zip code, a neighborhood, a census tracker, what have you. The tapestry report is one of the popular reports that people run, and that actually breaks out consumers, and we'll get into that. There's demographic reports. These are all coming from the 2010 census. Now, some people say the census website is a bit difficult to navigate. Some say it is, or it isn't.
Yeah.
But you could also get this data for your geographic area that you designate. There's also expenditure reports. That's also coming from the federal government.
I see that. Automotive, financial,
recreation. We're going to look at that as well. I wanted to just show you the last part. There's actually business reports. You can actually get reports on the types of businesses in the area that you designate.
Oh, I see traffic counts. That's a question I get a lot. A lot.
Yes. That's also a source that people look at to see how much traffic is passing a particular address or intersection. Now, the thematic maps, when I mentioned the visual representation of the data, that's where the maps are. And again, if you're not, there's always a description of what it is.
Okay.
So I'm going to run some reports. The first report I ran for Arlington County was a business summary, and I hope everyone can see. But we actually have the number of businesses. So there are approximately 3,700 businesses that fall under professional, scientific, and tech services. Now these are the NAICS codes, getting back to the NAICS.
Gotcha.
Okay? So they're broken down. This is actually just useful, and this is a new report that they put out. But it breaks down the number of businesses in Arlington County by NAICS code.
I love that.
You can see where perhaps your business or
Food
product.
and beverage and motor vehicle. Okay. Oh, wow. That's very powerful information.
Let's go to the tapestry. Now, people love the tapestry. So one of the suppliers of the market research that goes into business decision is a company called ESRI, or also known as Esri. And they have an actual technology, a GIS technology, as well as consumer segmentation or consumer profiling. So they've actually have the market research behind there. So this report is telling us the #1 consumer segment in Arlington County. When I say #1, I'm saying 46.4% of the households in Arlington County are classified as metro renters.
Interesting.
Now let's figure out, now who are these people? Let's figure this out. Now, you see this? We have, this is coming from the report. It actually, everything is hyperlinked in the product.
Okay.
So right away, now Tara, remember blue and 27? Remember that, okay?
Okay.
So right away, we have an idea. We have some background on their demographics, young educated singles. That sort of does speak to that large audience.
Okay.
We have socioeconomic. Now, I will tell you that these classifications of consumers are across the board, across the country, okay? Now, we know the median household income for Arlington County is actually $90,000.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But the key piece and why people love this product so much is the preferences.
Yes.
Because this young educated single group, they rent and they buy clothes from certain vendors.
So that's why Tier 1 just opened up and we have Crate and Barrel.
There we go.
All right.
But they're also telling them a bit about their lifestyle and their disposable income. And as you're thinking about your target audience, this is what you want to look at in terms of the types of consumer you're going to target your business to.
And it also could explain why we have so many beer pubs coming up.
There we go. Very good.
Wow, okay.
Now, let's go further. I just wanted to show you, this is actually a census report.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's something that is blocking my view, but you'll see that there's the 2000 census and the 2010 census. This is a multiple-page report, and it gets into the nitty-gritty, and this is going to be important when you're working on your business plan.
Okay.
Or trying to assess who the demographics are for your business. Now, let's get to the retail goods and services expenditure. Now, this report used to be published, and one of the reasons why we got this product was specifically for this report. This is essential for people who are working on their business plans or even their marketing plans to understand what the spending potential index of a specific area is. So we know that this is for Arlington County. Now, I'll point you to the spending index potential. That's sort of the retail potential for the households in this area in Arlington County. So we see that under apparel and services, there is apparel products and services. So the spending potential index is, again, household-based. It's based on a national average of 100.
Okay.
So we know households in Arlington County spend 236% more than the national average on apparel products and services.
Wow. Okay.
Now, this report is 3 pages, and again, at the end of every report, there is a legend if you have any questions. But this actually can tell you what the spending potential index, look at under dating services. So households in Arlington County spend 134% more on dating services than the national average. So that's pretty important. It also gives you the average spent by household, and then it gives you the cumulative.
Okay.
Again, this is very important information to know. Now, the next report is the fun report. Now, Tara, remember when I mentioned the 27 metro renter?
Yes.
Now, let's look
that was blue.
Let's look at the blue. Okay. Now, you can see on the map the red outlines part of North Arlington, but most of it. So basically, that's showing Arlington County. But you'll see there are little pockets of 27. Okay, that's where
I see that.
That's where the metro renters live. Okay.
Very good.
Now let's scroll down a little bit more.
So not only do I know what they like, but I know where they are.
Correct. And this view is actually giving us sort of another level of classification.
We're drilling down.
We're drilling down and also showing sort of broader. So we know, for example, the purple is they're classified as high society, affluent, well-educated, married couple homeowners.
Okay.
Then so it goes. So basically, anything blue to purple is sort of is the more affluent consumer.
Gotcha.
Okay? But we can drill down even further. Let's actually go and we'll run a report for 22207.
Okay.
Let's just show you that. So we know that the number one, the households in 22207,
I like these segmentations. I want to be a connoisseur.
Yeah, let's connoisseur. So 37% are considered connoisseurs.
Okay.
20% are considered top rung. Now look, top rung is number one. It's the number one, number one most affluent. But let's look at connoisseurs.
Okay.
So connoisseurs is going to give us, again, some information about the demographics.
Okay.
Look at this. Median age of 47 years. Socioeconomic. Median net worth of over 700,000.
Wow.
The education level. And then on the right, you can see what they're actually spending their money on. House cleaning services.
They read history books, mystery. Wow. Landscaping. Okay.
Now, these consumer segments by ESRI are actually being updated in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
This is still all validated.
Right. Okay.
But we're going to get actually another report that's going to segment the Hispanic market even further.
Oh, wow. So it'll drill down.
It'll drill down.
Okay. Wow. Okay. This is the kind of information that really, from my background is marketing, and I just fall over the moon with this. It's free. This is what you need, and you're not paying for it.
You're not paying for it. With the library card. Now, so I'm sure you're all interested in how to get a library card if you don't have one. You do need to get an Arlington Public Library card, and on our website, you can actually go under Services, Accounts, and Borrowing. You can apply for a library card online. Now, we have reciprocal agreements with most of the area, so you don't have to live in Arlington County. And what you essentially, if you have a driver's license, a current driver's license, that will suffice. If your driver's license may be from another state, just show us a proof of mail or some proof of residence, and then you can get a library card.
All this for free.
For free.
This is amazing.
Now, and what I do also is meet one-on-one with entrepreneurs and business owners if they're looking for some specific type of information or they need information for their business plan. And we actually have a feature called By Appointment Book a Librarian. And you can actually go to this website and you can actually drill down, and I actually have a calendar online that you can look at and schedule an appointment. But so basically, if you have additional questions, you're welcome to contact me via email or phone, and we can talk further.
And I have to say, Alexandra, working with you, it's amazing the amount of information that you can find, because I think doing this for so long, really the market research and being able to get access to this type of information really puts you on a different footing than other businesses. So
definitely.
We really want to promote this and let people know, and not only is the database or the premium site, available, but you're available as a professional expertise, wonderful, wonderbar. So I really encourage everybody that's out there and are listening, the audience, to definitely take that advantage of having this type of resource here in the county.
I think that the key thing is just you want to search smart, you want to save your time. And if you can't find what it is you need, consider contacting us.
I like that, SS, search smart. SS squared, something like that.
So I guess we should open up for questions?
Yeah, so here we are, and we are available for questions. Our fabulous colleague, Melissa, will be spearheading any questions that you all may have. I've been checking on Twitter, and I haven't gotten any. So we'll see what kind of questions we have from you all online.
Yeah, hi. We have a few questions people have asked, and feel free to type in any more that you have right now. There's two that are similar. They ask, can you get a library card if you live outside of Arlington County, and would you be able to use a Fairfax County library card there?
You can get a library card if you don't live in Arlington County. On one of the slides before, we have a listing of all the counties. You cannot use a Fairfax County card. You have to get a library card with Arlington County. But we have reciprocal agreements, so if you live in Fairfax, you can get an Arlington Public Library card.
Okay, great. And then someone asked if they can use these databases remotely, or do you have to do it from the library?
No, you can use all these databases remotely 24/7 with an Arlington Public Library card.
Okay, great. And then just to answer a few questions we've gotten, that this presentation will be made available on our website, and you'll also receive a recording once it's complete as well.
And it will be up there for prosperity, so if you need to listen to it a couple of times, it'll definitely be available.
Yeah, and that's about all the questions that we have asked.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us during your lunch hour. We're actually going to do a fourth and final marketing webinar at some time soon, so stay tuned for that. But we really appreciate your time, and thank you for participating with us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next BizLaunch program. Thank you all so much, and enjoy your day.
Thank you.